Hello.
Hey, hey, hey.
Love your outfit.
Oh my, Mom, stop it, but really keep going.
I'm just on that shacket.
Shacket?
Shacket. A shirt jacket.
Oh, I didn't even know that was a term that existed in the world.
It's my thing for fall. Yeah.
I like that.
It's a shacket.
I'm really loving the off-the-shoulder stuff.
I love off the shoulder. Is that from Lulu's?
It is.
I have it.
Oh my God. Girl, are we shipping at the same places? That's how I know that I'm doing better fashion-wise is when Alina notices something that I'm wearing. That's something she owns. Actually, that's probably the biggest compliment I ever received. Oh my
God. As I'm in a shacket and a sports bra.
Every time you say that, it like
brings you joy, makes you feel weird. Which
it
one
makes
is
me feel a little weird because it's like shacket. I like feel like it's almost like a swear word in and of itself. Like somewhere in the world, in some language.
It's a shacket.
Shacket. I don't know. It messes with me a little bit. Anyway, on that note, we're going to continue our fun little AITA of pop culture celebrity moments.
We're back for another
one.
Deliberation.
Back at it. Okay.
I think for a change, though, we're going to be on the same page.
I think so. So as you all know, we're trying to be judge and jury out here in them streets. Would you like to go ahead and give us a little context for this one?
Of course. It would be my pleasure. So for today's Who is the Asshole or Am I the Asshole? We are going to be evaluating Gisele versus Tom. So we know it's been a couple of weeks since this has dropped, but I feel like this is still it's news. They were kind of everyone's like golden couple that didn't really eat cooked food for a long time, but they're beautiful. Everyone loves them. They're like one of the richest couples, I feel like, in pop culture. So Tom Brady and Gisele Bundchen have officially finalized their divorce, supposedly amicably. Speculation is that Gisele was like done with this marriage when Tom unretired from football at the beginning of this season, or I guess before preseason. And then they quietly filed for divorce, although it wasn't really quiet because everyone really knew about it. She was missing from all of the games where she is like notoriously there on the field supporting him. And they actually finalized it like before the start of week 8 in football, which is like halfway through the season.
Yeah. Which to me was insane. I thought that it moved really quickly. I found out it's because they actually had a prenup. Yeah.
Okay. I was going to bring that up.
Yeah.
Or just talk about how quickly it happened. But okay. So the question here.
Yeah.
It's our duty to the people to decide who is the asshole for wanting a divorce. Or sorry. Is Gisele an asshole for divorcing Tom? And we can assume that she was the one who filed.
Yeah.
Or is Tom the asshole for not keeping his promise to his wife and his family
of actually retiring? Yeah.
And we have to be very clear. Tom also, like, it's a retirement from football, from the season, from travel, from practice, from whatever.
He's not retiring as in like completely going out of the limelight. He could still get brand deals.
He has a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he has like a bunch of like, he has a bunch of stuff going on. So this was a retirement from the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
This makes me really sad, this topic. And I'll tell you why it makes me really sad, because you could tell that they both have such love for each other. And, you know, for him to make a promise to his wife.
And his kids.
And then to go back on it, probably out of his own egotistical need. Like, he doesn't need the money to sign up for another fucking season. It's unnecessary. For him to feel like you are not valuable enough to me for me to give up football. Like, that one hurts.
Yeah.
I will say, and I think I mentioned this briefly to you and you kind of looked at me like I was crazy. A lot of people are saying that Tom isn't looking real hot these days.
No, but it looks horrible.
Yeah, his like sunken eyes. He's not doing well on the field.
No, I have him in my fantasy league, and let's just say
he's not.
I'm fucking pissed.
And so a lot of people are talking about how Gisele is a witch. I don't know if you've heard about this. Gisele does a lot of manifestation stuff. She does a lot of like brews and like natural home remedies and has an altar and all of these things that have actually been mentioned. Tom is actually in an interview where he talks about how his wife is essentially a witch, and she tells him like, this is going to be your year. She's really into astrology too. And she was like, I just need you to listen to me. And he does everything that she says. And he was pretty fucking successful up until this season, if I'm going to be honest. And I don't know much about football, but I do know that Tom was doing pretty damn well before he retired. And people are saying that, like, oh, look at now that he doesn't have Gisele. Like, she's reclaiming her power back, or her energy back, for those that are into the woo-woo world, if you will. And that's why he's doing terribly, and that's why he's looking the way that he's looking, which I can believe. I'm here for it. I mean, now that I know that they amicably divorced, like if we're talking about the realism of it, like clearly not. But a lot of people, especially on TikTok, you know, people love to say shit on TikTok. They're saying that because of her witchiness, if she will, she's essentially like cursed him or taken back her energy and is no longer like helping fuel him in his successes through her own manifestation stuff.
Sorry, I'm trying to like gather my thoughts.
I know, because you literally like,
had,
excuse me,
like,
what?
I knew you had a something to drop.
Yeah.
But now I feel like I have to like rethink everything that I was thinking and gonna say. So first of all, I think Tom looks like shit
Yeah.
because he's done way too much fucking work on his face.
Oh, so you think he's actually done work on his face?
Of course he has. Everybody knows he has.
Oh.
I think he's just gone a little too far with that.
Fair enough.
I also think that this has probably taken a lot, like this has taken a toll on him
What has?
physically. The divorce.
I mean, mentally, sure.
Yeah, but I think physically too. Like it's
if it
gotta
was
be
gonna-
draining, right?
I mean, Gisele still looks amazing.
Yeah, she's Gisele fucking Bundchen. Also, for the record, I just looked it up. Tom Brady is worth about $250 million. She's worth $400.
Oh, so her net worth is...
So she's like, yeah.
Yeah.
And I knew she was worth more than him, but I didn't know how much more. Like that's almost double.
Yeah.
And I think she's just like freed of it, right? And she came out and said that one of the reasons why she wanted him to retire and step away from the field was because she was like, look, I've been a good wife. I've been a doting wife for the last 13 or whatever it is years. I've supported him. Again, she's always there on the field at every single Super Bowl. They always show her in the box. She's cheering him on. She was the one who, I think it was when he lost, or they lost to the Giants, which is like, we were like, what? How'd that happen? Although Mark was very happy about that. But she was just like, my husband can't throw the ball and catch the ball. Like she's super passionate and like about his career and supportive.
Oh, 100%.
But she was like, I've also put my career on the back burner to support him in his career. So
100%.
I feel like she's kind of like free of that.
Yeah.
In a sense.
It's just like I said, I think what really is shitty here is that he just, like, she put in all this time and effort, and to feel like you've put so much work into something, and, you know, especially when you're in a relationship, in a long-term relationship, and someone that you've built a life with and have, you know, beautiful children with, and for them to be like, I don't give a fuck about the work that you put in, I'ma still do me. Like, selfish asshole.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I think that he's the asshole in this situation for sure. I think that the reason why he unretired was because, I don't know if you remember this, but it was leaked that he was retiring. Everyone kind of speculated it. They're like, oh, he's old. He's in his 40s now. You know, he's going out on with a bang.
Know that it was leaked.
It was leaked before he announced it. So yeah, everyone was like, oh, he's done. He's got all of his, you know, Super Bowl rings. He's going to go out on a high. The Bucks won the Super Bowl in Tampa, blah, blah, blah. And then he... like obviously came back. Oh, I think that was 2 years ago. Anyway, whatever. The moral story is people were like, he's going to go out. He's done. Because he's only signed like a 2-year deal, I think, with the Bucks. And then like for like a week or so, people were like, ooh, is this true? Is it not? There was a lot of hoopla around it. And then he came out and said it himself. But I think the fact that he didn't get to like own the narrative about his own retirement, that someone else like told his story for him, I think that fucked with him.
I mean, in comparison to your children and wife,
I'm not saying so. I'm just saying that I think that that's why he went back to football.
That's not a good enough reason for me.
I'm not saying it's a good reason.
I guess I can understand. I mean, actually, no, I can't understand it. That to me, in my head, if something were to get leaked, I'd be like, oh, that's a bummer. But I'd still be like, I can still control the narrative afterwards by like admitting it and stuff. Like, I don't think that's a good enough reason. I just think that you know what my perspective is on this? I think that, you know how people say typically people in older age when they retire
Okay.
will shortly, there are some people who shortly die after they retire because they're just built to work and they find their purpose in what they do.
Okay.
And I think for Tom, his purpose was football. And for him to have to face the existential aspect of like, who am I without this?
Yeah.
That's what made him go back. And he couldn't see himself without it. And he valued it so much more than his wife and children.
Maybe. Which is really sad.
I mean,
for,
it
think
angers
everyone.
me. It just angers me. And I think what angers me here is the fact that she gave up so much and put everything of hers on hold. And like they were supposedly like the perfect couple, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm a very firm believer that behind every great man is an even greater woman. So like if Tom was able to do it, he could. Like imagine how amazing she is. Mm-hmm. And for him to be like, you ain't shit, I'm gonna still go do me. It enrages me. Like you could probably see in my eyes like the murderous, like whatever's happening behind there. Like it's...
I feel like you're going to have a lot to talk about in therapy this week.
Oh, 100%. I don't know why I'm so angry this week.
Really like...
I'm so angry
this week. You're taking things very personally.
I don't know why.
On behalf of Gisele, on behalf of Archie, a 3-year-old that you don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
And I feel like I'm the spokesperson
for the people today.
But I feel like I'm usually the one that like takes on a lot of people's emotions. And today I'm just like cool as a cucumber.
You are cool.
I guess this is the 33-year-old me.
Oh my God.
Now that I'm so old and wise.
Roll.
Okay. So yeah, no, I don't disagree. I mean, I think it was like, I think it was shocking, not shocking, because we knew how strongly she felt about it. I think she was already pissed off that he went back for another season.
Yeah.
With the Bucks. But
I guess
she was done. Like this shit happened real quick.
Oh, so
like,
quick.
I thought divorces take like years. I know people who have been in divorce. I mean, I don't personally know them, but I know people who have been in divorces for
years,
2 years, 3 years.
Yeah. But also it's because of the division of assets that's required and you have to go to court and to like figure that all out. But they had a prenup. I found that out today, actually, this morning.
But like, so maybe it really was amicable though, because were there kids in the prenup? Maybe they were. Maybe they already figured that out.
I believe it's like the kids. I'm sure like they had already talked about it in the sense of like, if you go back to football, we're going to go through with this divorce. And they probably maybe talked it out between themselves.
Talked or screamed? I would imagine that that's a screaming situation.
That's a great question. I mean, I feel like I want to say they respect each other enough for it not to be a screaming match. But at the end of the day, too, if you respected your wife, you wouldn't have done what you did. So
yeah, I have a feeling it was a pretty heated conversation, and they were
I'm assuming so. Maybe the lawyers just managed it. Probably it was already done in the prenup, where they already discussed.
I guess I didn't think that you put kids in that, but I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, if we have kids, this will be what we do, unless there's like infidelity or the other person is unfit to, or whatever it is.
Got it. So I don't have a prenup, so I don't even know like what goes into that.
Yeah, we're kind of fucked if we get a divorce.
I'm not the one who's fucked. I'm not the breadwinner in the family.
Oh yeah, that's right. Marky
gotcha.
Mark.
Better not leave me because I'm a Scorpio and I'll.
Ooh, she doesn't forgive or forget. Just FYI.
Okay, sorry. So to go back to your whole like witch thing.
The witch thing.
I think people on TikTok have a lot of time on their hands.
But also Tom Brady came out in an interview and said that his wife was a witch. Like he himself came out and said that she
like a witch,
she's
like
a witch
she's
and
witchy.
she like
she
manifests
likes these things.
Well, like what's the difference between witchy and like, you know what I mean? Like if you're doing like manifestation, it's all part of like this new age woo-woo movement, if you will. I say woo-woo very...
you do.
I say it a lot. But it's also because it's like I do believe in some of this stuff.
You have woo-woo school later.
I do have woo-woo school later. Woo-woo school.
Well, bitch, get on your woo-woo shit and manifest
the
something
Powerball
for
win?
me, please.
Powerball
God, what
win.
are you doing with this? Here's the thing. I will believe it when you manifest like something for me.
It's different
Not
types
for you,
of woo-woo.
for me.
It's different types of woo-woo. There are those who are like psychics or mediums, and then there are those who are like into manifestation, and then there are those who are like, it's just like different layers of it. But apparently, like he was saying in this interview that like, my wife's a witch. She said that this is my year. She does astrology. She knows what's coming up for me. You know, we do like these ceremonies. Like, I was like, okay, damn Tom, damn Gisele. And so now people are saying that
He looks like shit because she stopped.
exactly. And now he doesn't have that level of support of like, doing these rituals and sacred ceremonies with the moon. And I don't know, I'm just making stuff up. That's not my sect of woo-woo that I'm interested in. So everyone's got their thing, homegirl. Everyone's got their thing. And so anyways, but the point I'm trying to make is that
And mine is the royal family. No.
mine is sort of but the point I'm trying to make is that with this divorce, even though I believe divorce does take a emotional toll, physical, if like you're not taking care of yourself because of like the emotional toll, like the depression, let's say, of or anxiety around it, if you're not eating and stuff. But there is also a level of fitness that he has to maintain in order to be able to play on the field, right? But I can see why people would be saying that the reason why he's not looking too hot is because she's basically removed all woo-woo support of him.
Yeah, because he doesn't have his wife in his corner.
Exactly.
You can call that energetic support, or you can call that...
For sure, energetic support.
You don't.
Yeah.
Okay, so who's the asshole in the situation?
Oh, for sure, Tom.
Mm-hmm.
There's like, and I also think we're a little biased though because we're women, right? I think there's another angle to look at it. Of like, what if he asked her for 1 more year or 2 more years or however many years the contract
But
was.
I think he already did that, is what I'm saying.
But here's the thing, and just being like, just stick with me. I will make sure that it's like worth it in the end. Like people could say like, oh, you didn't support your husband for like one last time just to make it work for the kids. But then again, we're coming from the perspective of like, well, she already gave 13 fucking years of her life to him.
I don't think it's about the 13 years. I think it's also Tom Brady. Like there's been speculation that he's going to retire for years.
Yeah.
This is not just like the last 3 years, like because he's like I think one of the oldest players in the league.
Interesting.
And it's like shocking that he's still playing and that he was playing as well as he does. So I don't think it was just give me 1 more year. I also don't think it's like 13 years. Like she was dating him when she knew that he was a really successful football player, blah, 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 blah. I think it's the dicking her around. I actually think it was a loss of trust. 100%. I don't think it necessarily was just about her giving up her career. I think she's just like, I don't believe you anymore.
Yeah.
And motherfucker, I'm worth double what you are. I don't need this shit. So I'm going to go out. I'm going to go talk to, they're saying Pete Davidson, his big dick energy is going to like swoop right in. But I think, I think he's an asshole and I think you sleep in the bed you make and hopefully.
It's really sad to me that you have to have like a complete dissolution of a marriage. And like, to your point, the breaking of trust. Like once that trust is broken to it is very, very hard to come back from within a relationship, especially when you have to rely on one another so deeply and intimately. I really feel for Gisele. I don't know why. This topic makes me so sad. And I don't even watch fucking football. They're not a couple that I've actually cared for in the past. I think that, yes, I know of them and, I see snippets of interviews here and there, but it just makes me sad that someone couldn't let go of their ego or couldn't let go of, their fear of who they are without this thing that's made them who they are.
Okay, but sorry, devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
What if that's his identity?
What you do is not part of your identity.
But maybe it is for him. You have to understand, like what we do is very different than what he does, right?
No, I don't think so.
I 100% disagree.
I don't think that you should be... We can get into this whole thing psychologically, but I don't think what you do is who you are. But I think it can be an aspect of it, but you are so much more than what you do day in, day
but
out.
Also, again, like what we do, like we can disassociate from that when we close our laptops at the end of the day, right? It's very different when you're walking down the street and you are Tom Brady. It's very different when you're walking, when you're eating or when you're...
I don't necessarily agree with that.
I think so. I think that but it's everything, right? It encompasses, obviously you are a father.
Like any
you're
celebrity,
whatever.
So any celebrity can't be anything else. Like Tom Cruise, he will forever be like, he can't be anything other than just movie star. Like if he were to retire. So is that what you're saying about all people who have a certain level of fame and notoriety of like around what they do?
I'm not saying that that's all they are, but obviously this is a very important part of his identity.
Yeah, but it should. That
I think
to me
he's
is
the
a
asshole.
psychological issue there, because that means, once again, this is like a fear around like figuring out who you are as a human outside of this one thing. And I think a lot of people go through that, where they build their identity around work or what they do, and then when something happens and crashes down around them, and they're like, wait, who am I now as a human being? Because once again, we are so much more than just what we do. Like the relationship he has with his kids, his like relationship with his wife, his friends, his family, his, like who you are when you're by yourself without this.
But maybe he's lost that.
No, that's what I'm saying,
yeah.
for sure. And I think his fear took over, because he's like, I don't want to know who I am without it. That's what it is.
Yeah, and I think that's sad, but I also think that's a personal choice.
And no, 100%. It's
know?
And that's why I think that makes this exceptionally sad, is that he found more value in holding on to this thing out of fear than leaning into his family to help support him in the next chapter of his life. Mm-hmm. I think that's the most upsetting thing here.
Yeah. So is he an asshole, or is he like pathetic?
Yeah, because I don't necessarily think it's, I think he's just leading by fear right now. I wouldn't necessarily think it's pathetic. I think it's very human, because that's kind of what we know, right? We tend to skirt away from the things that we're scared of, even though those typically relay into like a next chapter that means growth and evolution to a degree. And I think he just doesn't want that. People could perceive that as pathetic. I think it's a little sad that he had to lose his wife and kids out of his own fear. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to say he's an asshole.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you?
I like skew more towards he's pathetic, but
I think pathetic is such a strong word.
But I think between the two of them,
yeah,
I mean, it is a strong word, but I just can't think of anything else right now. I think between the two of them, he's definitely the asshole, because he made her a promise and didn't keep it.
Yeah, 100%.
We need to get a gavel.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. Ooh, we'll do like a gavel noise. Dum.
But yeah, so
Okay, so there we have it. Tom Brady.
there you have it. Tom Brady. What do you think?
Oh, 100% he's the asshole in this situation.
I mean, what do you think?
Oh, you're asking. Okay, Brainiacs, what do you all think?
Let us know.
Yeah, let us know, and we'll catch y'all next week.